if you have any questions about those or any clarifications, I'd be more than happy to field them. So our content warnings include racism, xenophobia, microaggressions, generational trauma, creepy vibes, fantasy violence, death, possession, ghosts, guns as weaponry, teenager engagement, and street fights, desecration of graves, zombies, vampires, visions, hallucinations,
Good evening. I wonder if anyone can hear me.
It'd be really funny if no one could hear Mark talking right now. So,
no.
chat, let us know if you can hear. No audio.
No.
Oh, there it is. There it is. I can hear myself in the stream. Mark.
How can I do that to myself? Oh, am I? That's so funny. Hello, how about now? Really? I'm cranking my gain up then. Oh, now
yes,
I sound
apparently,
nice.
Apparently Banana Canna or Agatha are not audible.
Yeah.
I can't seem to hear you in the stream.
Now, yeah.
Mm-mm.
I can hear you. Wait, no. Yeah, sorry. Ooh,
Yeah.
I'm in trouble.
No, it might be a way that the output's coming in. But we're all here, we're vibing, folks. We're vibing. This wouldn't be a stream if there weren't tech issues.
We are. It's like the whole Halloween thing. I blame the ghosts and the ghouls.
Absolutely just the ghosts and ghouls.
Well,
I'd be remiss if I didn't say a gui, a Chinese gui, right? Banana asked what everyone's favorite kind of ghost was for the chat, in case you couldn't hear them and were unable to read the captions.
No, we're all ghosts. You're the
like I'm talking to myself. This is the scariest kind of podcast.
There we go. I think I did.
It's kind of funny because Connie's like the seance and like trying to
yeah.
Can we hear Kiana right now? Is there a Kiana in the room?
Hello, am I here? Am I here? Please.
Yes,
Yay.
I think we can hear everyone. Yes.
Oh, really?
Oh, hey.
All of us?
Yes. I hear everyone's voices.
Bless.
That's me silly.
I can also hear Mark's. I think everyone's audio is all clear.
Can you hear me through the chat? I mean, through Twitch?
Yes, we can hear you through Twitch.
Oh, then that rocks. Who? Sorry for that, my beautiful friends. Good evening, friends, enemies, lovers, and liches. We are Apochromatic Unlimited, and all persons of color, cooperative, collaborative creators that is working together to uplift the unheard voices of people of color in the TTRPG space. And I'm your host, the disembodied voice of Apochromatic Unlimited, Mark J. We want to wish you an early, an All Hallows Eve. Hope that you've had a wonderful horror-filled weekend with lots of gay costumes and tasty snacks and candy. I want to welcome you to a very special presentation of tonight's one-shot actual play of Jiangshi, Blood in the Banquet Hall. Jiangshi is a role-playing game about a Chinese diasporic family that runs a restaurant in 1920s North America who must deal with the horror and humor of operating a restaurant. You can purchase Jiangshi, Blood in the Banquet Hall at indiepressrevolution.com. And without further ado, allow me to introduce our players this evening. First, the co-creator of the game, one Banana Chan.
Hi everyone, my name is Banana Chan. My pronouns are she, they, and he. I am the owner and co-founder of a small box board game and RPG publishing company called Game and Curry, and I am also the co-designer for Jiangshi Blood in the Banquet Hall. And I'm going to pass it over to the next person.
Sure, I can go. Hi everyone, I'm Agatha. My pronouns are she, her. And I'm the co-host, one of the co-hosts of the Asians Represent podcast, and also a cultural consultant for Chinese diaspora and Taiwanese content, and then also now a game designer. You can find the one game that I have up, Deadly Island, on itch.io/Mighty Shrimp with two Y's. And that's also where you can find me on what is formerly known as Twitter, Zitter? Is that what people are calling it now? Yeah, okay. I see. Kiana's like, no, actually, I prefer not. But yeah, that's where you can find me at Mindtrip with two eyes in these two spaces. And I'll pass it on to Kiana.
Sure. Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Kiana. My pronoun is she, they. I am a TTRPG designer, writer. I'm also one of the co-curators of the TTRPG Safety Toolkit. I'm also one of the contributors to the game we are playing. I wrote some of the history stuff, and I also contributed one of the scenarios, which is set in a university that's definitely not just my university that I went to, and that I definitely didn't just rename so that I legally didn't get in any trouble with using my university. I am known as Kiana S all over the internet, so you can find me on itch.io, on my website, on social medias that may or may not exist for the next who knows how long. And obviously here, playing with these awesome people.
Yes, and I will be your game master for the evening. I am Connie Chong. My pronouns are they, he, and she. You can find me across the internet at by Connie Chong, namely Twitter and TikTok and Blue Sky, I suppose, now that that's the era that we're in. When I'm not here being a guest GM on Apoch Unlimited, I am the GM and creative producer for Transplanar RPG, which is an all-transgender, people of color-led, dark fantasy actual play channel set in an original non-colonial anti-Orientalist multiverse. We took last weekend off, but we're coming back roaring this weekend. We stream Saturdays at 8 p.m. US Eastern Time. The penultimate episode of our second main campaign, the Chaos Protocols Arc 1, is coming to a close this Saturday. It's going to be the boss fight of the arc. It's going to be intense, and we're going to gear up for our grand finale later this month. So we stream Saturdays at 8 p.m. US Eastern Time, but podcast episodes drop Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5 a.m. Eastern, if you're much more of a edited, background music podcast kind of listener. I'm also the designer behind a God Killer RPG, which the Ashcan of is now out on itch.io. It is a holy punk duet RPG for one player, the God Killer, and one game master, God. I'm currently in talks with some folks about its home for the full game to be published, so keep your eyes and ears peeled for more information about the full version of God Killer hitting a bookstore near you in the next 2 years probably. But to keep hip with that, follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at by Connie Chong. And with that, without further ado, I suppose we can get started. So something I always like to do, especially for dark fantasy horror games, is give a list of content warnings at the beginning of each session about content that the audience can expect to encounter. So Jiangshi Blood in the Banquet Hall does deal with some dark real-world themes, some of which we will be exploring tonight. So content warnings for this particular session of Jiangshi may include racism, xenophobia, microaggressions, generational trauma, creepy vibes, fantasy violence, death, possession, ghosts, guns as weaponry, teenager endangerment, like in Stranger Things, desecration of graves, zombies, nightmares, visions, hallucinations, and deportation/immigration themes. So without further ado, let's begin. The Zhilong burying ground is quiet. Tombstones stand in silent gray vigil, granite faces glistening under paltry moonlight. All is still in Boston tonight. Perched upon a grassy hill behind the twisting alleyways and low-lit lanterns of Chinatown, the Zhilong Cemetery overlooks the neighborhood it serves, cloaked in midnight fog and bathed in ancestral legacy. Built in the 1880s to sustain Boston's first major waves of Chinese immigration, this cemetery is now 40 years strong, holding the memories and remains of many beloved grandparents, siblings, cousins, and friends. We hold on Zhilong for a long, peaceful beat. And then the trembling comes. Wing Chun, Sing Ha, Hung. I need each of you to cover the first slot on your character sheets with a Hmong card as nightmares strike already. To be precise, as the same nightmare strikes each of you at once, you see a towering, beautiful paifang with jade roofing and gray pillars. 4 characters engraved in gold read 天下为公, everything under the sky for the people. None of you recognize this gate. It's completely strange to you, different, new, but you do recognize the busy, sprawling streets beyond it. Chinatown streets, Boston streets, bustling with life and activity and culture and commerce. There are cars, vehicles idling on the side of the road, community members swaddled in thick jackets and furs as autumnal gales howl down the boulevard. The cars are of a bizarre make, and so are the clothes, but the people's faces are familiar. Most of them are Chinese, and they're walking amongst white folk, black people, brown people. There is a sense of community, a sense of belonging here, a sense of exchange. But something's wrong. First, of course, there is the shaking. Everything is shaking, trembling like the entire ground is about to give way underneath your feet. And then, snaking up the alabaster columns of this gate are the greedy, rapacious tendrils of some unseen beast. A force that cracks the marble underneath its hungry grip, crumbling the paifang from its very foundations with no other drive than to consume. And on that, each of you wake up. It is minutes before dawn. We push through the rosy streets of a pre-sunrise Chinatown. Aside from a few street sweepers and trash collectors, the roads are empty. The streets haven't yet filled with smog and the smell of meats and steamed vegetables billowing from the chimneys of Chinatown's many restaurants, of which one we focus upon. The Golden Palace, 4 hours away from opening its doors to its first wave of customers. Sandwiched between a gambling house disguised as a real estate brokerage and the Kwang Kao Chinese School, the Golden Palace's glass windows are proudly plastered with images of food, most notably its specialty, Wing Chun. What is the specialty?
Roast duck, for sure.
Roast duck. Peking roast duck. We see glistening strips of perfectly caramelized and browned skin resting upon bubbling white strips of fat above tender, juicy duck meat, and saucers filled with delicious oyster sauce and a special house-made concoction, along with long julienne strips of scallions and soft, pillowy blankets of bun wrappings. We push through this shut front door and now find the 3 core workers of the Golden Palace, each still shaking the cobwebs of nightmare off of your shared disturbed sleep. Let's begin with the youngest. Singha, what do you look like, and how do you enter the Golden Palace?
Singha is just turned 30. She's just on the cusp of that, and she seems to carry herself with more maturity than that. And you think that, oh, you're still young. She is dressed as old-fashioned as possible. She is. It is. Any clothing that she has is about probably like 5 years out of style at this point. She has the most utilitarian bun to just keep her hair out of her face. And she's already got a little bit of a scowl on her face from both from the nightmare and also knowing that once again, this is another day at the restaurant and she can already predict how this is going to go. And so she just kind of shuffles in to the kitchen and starts making sure all the lights are on and just like starting to arrange everything. Definitely not being super quiet about stuff. It just like keeps like sets down a pot, a big wok that just like clangs throughout the entire space. She doesn't have to worry about like any of the customers here yet. And so she's just going through stuff.
Yeah, you've got opening down to a science. You've written the book on opening at the Golden Palace. You go in, wiping crumbs of nightmare dust from your eyes, focusing on just getting shop set up. We pan across the Golden Palace to find the next person in attendance, Gum Hong. What do you look like, and how do you enter your place of work?
Gao Hong is a pretty big, though actually tall but wiry man, but carries himself in a way that is always trying to fit into a smaller place, and a little bit stooped and like shoulders a little bit in, and he wakes up cold sweat and just wipes his face and his with one hand, and his other hand immediately goes to a tattered peace talisman that is in his pocket, and he touches it briefly and then takes his hand out because it is being so worn from the continual touching anytime anything happens. And he takes a deep breath and also immediately goes into work mode. Instead of going to the where the kitchen is, I think what he does is he goes back into the dining area, which has been cleaned the night before, but just writes everything. Maybe puts all the chairs down after cleaning yesterday, and then sweeps the front, the door, right in front of it, that area, and is very quiet.
Yes, absolutely. What material is your peace talisman made of?
It is, I think it is made of paper. It's
paper. Okay.
It's sanctified paper. It's been blessed at a temple, and it's supposed to be very, very, very effective. And that was the one thing that his mom gave him before he set off on a boat, never to return.
Yes. So this morning, as you rub that paper talisman that you've had with you for a very long time, something about the crenellations of the material feels different than usual. As you're sweeping, I think, the front steps of the Golden Palace, do you take it out and examine it, or do you wait for later?
It's still early. I think I can take it out and examine it.
Yeah, you kind of idle for a half second and you take out this slip of paper and you notice that there's like a words of blessings written on it in your mother's script, right? She invested in like nice ink, like went to a temple, got a monk to bless it. So there's even like, I think, gold reaming around it. And something about the black ink is starting to spread on the edges of her calligraphy. They almost look like shadowy tendrils. But that's when Wing Chun, tardy as always, enters. So what do you look like, and how do you enter the restaurant?
Wing Chun has on a suit that maybe is a couple of sizes too big for him. He looks like he slept maybe over at the gambling hall the previous night. He has the stench of alcohol in his breath, and he has his pickling jar held under his arm, and he's patting himself down, being like, where is it? Where is it? I can't find it. And what he's looking for is his mahjong tile, his lucky mahjong tile.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, as you're like desperately patting yourself down as you kind of stumble into the establishment, where do you usually keep it?
I think I usually keep it in an inside pocket in my suit. So it's more of like an expensive looking suit. And Wing Chun likes to look up to date, likes to look like hip and cool. But for some strange reason, he can't find it today.
Yeah, it's not there. You check all the hiding places inside the hiding places. Nope, tile's not there.
I see Gam Hong, and I walk over to him, and I see you sweeping, and I'm just like, hey, did someone come by the other night with a set of mahjong tiles?
No.
No one's dropped any. Maybe stop by to play a game.
No. They don't play mahjong here.
So no one stopped by at all.
Did you gamble something away?
Well, I wouldn't say I gambled something away.
At this point, as that being said, like Singha just like peeks her head out of the kitchen door and is just staring right at you.
I try to like put an arm around Gumhong, and I'm just like, hey, can we talk about this real quick? I just need to know if like, anyone stopped by, maybe like, left some mahjong tiles around or something. Like, I don't want like Singha to find out. So can you just keep this between us?
Are you very good at being discreet with your voice?
No.
Yeah, so Singha, you hear your chosen brother kind of like take Gamhung by the shoulders and mutter like, "Don't let Singha hear this," and like you hear every single word that he's saying.
Yeah, and Singha just says, "What did you lose this time?"
I didn't lose anything. I just can't find something, which is different from losing something.
I feel like the definitions are the exact same thing.
I don't know about that. I would say that maybe it's somewhere in the restaurant, and I just can't find it.
Okay, well, you can look for it later. We have a restaurant to open.
Speaking of which, the tasks and chores of opening and the morning loom in front of all of you as you consider what you have to do today. And now I'm going to pass out your chores, your restaurant tasks. So I've pre-shuffled these. I have no idea what these are going to be. Each of you get two. We're going to start with the responsible youngest sister, Singha. Your chore is make advertising. That is 3 hours long. And the consequence if you don't finish it is fewer customers. So note that down, make advertising. Your other chore, Singha, is make dumplings. That will take you 2 hours. And the consequence of not finishing that is no dumpling dishes and fewer customers in the afternoon.
Cool.
Gamhung, your first chore is prep seafood. This will take you 2 hours. The consequence of not finishing this is no seafood dishes and no large parties. Your second task is peel vegetables. This will take you 2 hours. The consequence of not finishing it is no vegetable dishes and fewer customers. And finally, our oldest brother, Laut, Wing Chun. Your first task is to clean the bathroom. That's going to take you 2 hours. And the consequence is dirty bathroom, disgusted customers. Your second chore is grind and toast spices. If you don't do this, there will be no tip and bland food, and there is no number of hours marked on this. So I'm just going to say liberally, perhaps that will also take 2 hours. Okay. All of you, if this is your first time playing Jiangshi, which is the first time for myself running it, every person would typically have 6 hours each to do tasks. But because you've covered your first slot on your character sheet with that nightmare card, that Mung card, that hour goes down to 5. So each of you only has 5 hours, as Nightmare still has its shadowy tendrils wrapped around your consciousness. So does anyone not have enough hours to do their tasks?
I have just enough.
Just enough. Yeah, so you're like on it. You're doing like the big ticket items. You have to rush and go. Anyone else? Does anyone have like a lot left over?
I have 1 hour left over.
And I think Winchun also has 1 hour left over, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then. Yeah, so that means none of the aspects of the restaurant, which also has its own character sheet, if you haven't played Jiangshi before, fall into neglect, which is good, which is a very good thing. It's very bad if an aspect of the restaurant falls into neglect. So I think on your chosen sisters, like bracing words of like, we have a restaurant to run, we see the three of you bustle off, right, and start tackling your tasks. So I'd love to get a quick montage from each of you as you're tackling your particular tasks, starting with Singha.
Yeah, so I mean, I imagine the dumplings are going to come first, like having to prep all those dumplings for the day. And so it's just, I think this is very practiced and meticulous, like motions. It's very much like, making sure that every dumpling is about the same size and like the same shape, like folding in the creases just so, and laying them all out on the on the trays just to make sure that things are perfectly, we can easily portion out to the dishes. You can just grab one column for each dish. And then when shifting over to having to do advertising, I imagine she's set up in like one of the small tables in the corner, and she just had a bunch of paper laid out, and is very carefully doing in both Cantonese and English, in Chinese and English, just like writing, and I think has attempted a drawing. It's not great, but it's charming. It's very much like, it's not child level, but it's certainly not someone who practices very much. So it's this very, very dainty little drawing, essentially.
Excellent.
And it's being copied on every single piece of paper that is being used. So.
Yes, you have your hands full. Not only are you making actual food, you have to like sit down and take care of the marketing aspects of the restaurant as well. So we find you maybe sat at a table, like copying down these pieces of advertising, making sure that the drawings are cute on each one, right? Your fingers still dusted with flour from making the dumplings, still smelling a little bit like raw meat and scallions and ginger mashed together. And we pan across the restaurant now to find Gam Hong. So montage us through your tasks.
Yeah, Gam Hong is in maybe just like the doorway to the kitchen, and between the kitchen and also just the alleyway behind us, sitting there on a little stool and just shelling shrimp. His hands are like red and blistery, and like a little, maybe it's very bad because shelling shrimp will always destroy your hands, especially in cold weather. And it just very quietly, very quickly shelling them, and then like one bucket, another bucket, and then goes to the kitchen and like puts a little cloth over his shoulders, and then starts washing and then chopping all the vegetables in this like very zen way. Like his eyes are just like unfocused, but he looks very peaceful throughout all of this.
You're totally zoned in.
Here. He's not present.
He's hyper focusing. We love him. Yes. And now I think we pan across the noises of like the knife going on this bamboo cutting board, pan across the restaurant to find in the toilet to begin Wing Chun.
I think Wing Chun is in the toilet or in the bathroom trying to unclog the toilet and just like going at it. It's been maybe so my chore was like 2 hours. I would say that maybe half of that time I was just trying to unclog that thing. And eventually it all works out, but it does take some time. And after washing down, everything in the bathroom, I go over to the kitchen and I pass by Singha going straight into the back where Gam Hong is like doing his chores, and I just like break him out of this trance of like Zen like peace and start just ranting about the gambling hall and how nothing ever works out, and this family, it's this restaurant. When are we going to have enough money to live our dream life?
How's Gam Hong responding to that?
Gam Hong will just nod and then like grunt when it seems like his response is needed, but and then not say anything else.
Whenever you hear a lull in the talk, you just go or and then like Wing Chun goes on again. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. As a dynamic between y'all. Yes. I think the morning, the dawn turns to like full on morning by the time all of you wrap up your tasks, and the first few customers start trickling in. Your first big wave doesn't come until lunch, right? Which is where there's kind of like a lunch hour rush as people are on their breaks, right? As people are like taking some time off to go to their favorite restaurant, grab a bite, and then go back to work. So I think the first couple of customers are pretty easy to deal with. They take their usual like morning dumpling orders, right? Either to go or they eat it right here. They want their like morning serving of a special like like morning steamed and braised vegetable situation, something light, some congee that you always kind of have. You always have rice and congee going no matter what, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then slowly morning turns to that afternoon, like lunch rush hour, where all of you are now like all hands on deck, bracing for meal service. So your regulars start coming in. It's mostly other Chinese people who live in Chinatown and or live very close to the area. But there are also like white people, black folk, brown folk as well coming in. Everyone loves the food that you're serving. And they're always, always, always salivating for your roast duck special, which just like your rice and your congee dishes, you kind of always have on tap, no matter what the other menu items are for that day. So where do we find the three of you as meal service comes into full swing?
I think I'm mostly in the kitchen. I think I'm holding things down a little bit here. I'm probably the person that's making the dishes, or at least like monitoring everything, making sure that nothing burns, nothing is undercooked. It's all just like having to handle all these all these things on the go, and probably shouting out the door like, "This order's ready. This order's ready."
Totally. Who's serving?
Which of you two want to do that?
Which of these very
I'll do
fail
a
men? I love these fail men.
I'll say like a combination of serving and guiding people to their tables, but mostly the latter versus the actual serving.
Okay. Yeah, so you're doing like front of house stuff. You're like managing
Yeah.
the flow, taking orders, right? Being the one to like seat people, while Gam Hong has to actually go back and forth between the kitchen and the floor.
Yeah, I'm bussing.
Yeah. Yeah. We also do need like a dishwasher, like slash someone to help out in the kitchen behind the scenes.
I mean, I'll probably go between doing either of those things. Like, I think I'm mostly
Poor guy.
doing
No.
but
Which one
if
just
it's
sits in
like-
the front, like not doing anything while Gam Hong's running between the dishwasher slash serving people slash managing customers, and Wing Chun's
Yeah.
just chilling.
Yeah,
Yep.
when Wington is like, "Oh, I need help," then the Gam Hong's like, "Okay," and then goes and like does that too.
Oh, no.
Absolutely. So it's just Singha who does all the food, Gam Hong who does everything else, and Wing Chun, what are you doing?
I'm charming the aunties that come through.
Sure.
Because you know, we gamble together sometimes, we play mahjong a little bit. And I think that I'm just trying to like, you know, turn that charm on, trying to be the face of the operation, because that's what I am.
Totally. So a bunch of, yeah, sure, aunties come in on their lunch break, right? Like these old women who don't work, right? But they come in, right? They play and they gamble, right? And they talk and they hold up the community in other ways, right? You know, like you're like being very nice and like sweet and charming to them. And one of them, Wang Ayi, is like, yeah, save all that sweet talking for the gambling parlor. I'm still gonna get your balls on a platter.
Oh, you're so funny. You're always my favorite.
Oh, you know I love you, kid. She kind of pats you on the back.
You wanna? How about a free appetizer on the house today?
Oh, well, if it's on the house, how can we say no? How can we say no? And these old ladies all go, oh. What
Yeah.
free appetizer are you trying to swindle out of your sister?
Oh God.
Ooh. What is something that my sister is not going to be too mad about? Probably if we have any like buns left over, like something that's just like, you know, easy to make, just there, and some sauce, like I'll just go back there and say like, hey, do we have any condensed milk and some buns? We'll just give that away, right? That's an appetizer we can give away.
Oh my God. And I think like Singha is just in the middle of babysitting like a stir fry and like a steamer and like going back between the two to check, and she just whips her head around. Like, if you keep giving away appetizers to people, eventually we will not have appetizers to give out.
But the aunties are here, and
I want those sweet buns, Wing Chun! Come on!
You hear them? They'll give us a great tip.
Make sure that you also give them 3 of those flyers so that they put and ask them to put them up.
Where are those flyers again?
Oh my goodness. They're right at the front door.
Front
on
door.
the small
Okay.
table.
Okay, got it. Okay, I'll go there. Do you want me to go there first? Do you want me to get the buns first? Like, what do you want me to?
I think just with the like a greasy hand, just like grabs the plate, shoves it into Winsung's hands, and then like basically with her foot just like nudges him out. Like, no.
Thank you. Winston just like rushes out.
Yeah, you rush back out toward the very hungry table of aunties. While all that is happening, Gamhung, you're working. You're going between tables. You're bussing. You're dishwashing. You're like serving, and you overhear Ping Laoshi, who is a teacher at the Guangkao school right next door, talking with her low-key, but everyone knows, girlfriend, Xiao Zhang, who is a construction worker. They always like take their breaks together, like here in your restaurant, and you overhear them talking to each other over like cups of like hot water. And Ping Laoshi is going, it's just, I really thought it was just me. All that shaking last night, it near about shook me out of bed. And you hear Xiao Zhang go, yeah, I thought maybe I was just having an odd dream or nightmare of some sorts, but it affected you as well, yeah? And they're like talking about it. And you remember, I think it just flashes into your mind, trembling, shaking, the paifeng, a crumbling marble, tendrils wrapping around stone, and then you're back in front of them with their orders on silver platters. Do you do or say anything about it?
No. I'm like, and then I say, I don't ever say what the food is. I just place it down and then immediately move on to the next table.
Oh, thank you, Hung. You really should take it easier on yourself. Don't work yourself into an early grave.
I turn around and nod and then continue to go with my hands completely full to all the other tables.
Sure. Yeah, you're just gonna file that away for later as you like rush around to other tables and continue doing work because you have so much work to do. Wing Chun, I'm so sorry, there's a huge bug. There's a huge bug in my window. I'm just gonna ignore it and hope that it goes away. It's like a stink bug. I'm good.
Oh.
Back in the session. Wing Chun, you serve the aunties their appetizers, you take their orders, and you shuttle the orders off to Gam Hung, and you go back to the front to like greet the next wave of customers when a white man kind of comes through the doors. Not a man you've ever met before or known. Mostly the white folk that frequent your place are like blue collar workers or like lower income folk, right? Who like the deals and the delicious food and the nutritional value of the foods in Chinatown. This guy immediately does not seem like he belongs because he looks like he's got money. And not just like the gambling house money of like counting dollars in the back, right? And like shuffling them up and handing them off to you when you've done your part for the tongs. This looks like legitimate money. This looks like real, like money. He's got a nice suit. Like his skin is weirdly soft, even though he's like definitely in his 40s or 50s. He's got like a comb over, you know, this like dark brown hair. And he has like this like navy patterned I think like a seersucker suit going on. Don't quote me on the fashion trends of the 20s because I have no idea. And he has cufflinks too. Your eyes are drawn to those like silver cufflinks right by his wrists. He comes in, he looks around, right, like raises his eyebrows, his nose kind of quivers at the fragrant smells going through this place. All kinds of spices he's never encountered in his life before, blinks through the steam coming, wafting from the kitchen, and tries to look for someone like you. And he kind of cocks his head to the side and starts to approach you.
Hello.
Do you say that in English?
I do, because probably that's the only thing I know how to say in English.
Yeah, how is your English? Would you like to share with the class?
Okay. It's real bad.
What are your ratings in listening, speaking, writing, and
Yeah, my speaking is 1. My reading is 1, and my listening and writing are 0.
So what that means is you cannot understand what he's saying to you, but you can say a few phrases.
Yes.
Okay.
No.
He says something in English to you that sounds friendly, and he's smiling. He reaches out a hand to you at the end of it.
I slap it.
You slap his hand?
Like a
You slap it. Okay.
yeah, like that. Like, like a friendly slap. I thought that he wanted to hit a slap it. I don't know. He said some stuff.
He did. You see a flash of like a beautiful watch. You slap it, like a Rolex of some kind, and he stares at the slap, lets out a huh, kind of noise, and puts his hand back down and keeps talking to you in English. He's saying a lot of things now, and he seems very eager.
Yeah.
And he's
Great.
projecting out loud. So like your restaurant isn't huge. It's not tiny, but it's not huge. So his voice is kind of booming throughout the entire of the lunch service. And a couple of your regulars who have similar levels of English proficiency as you start looking over, and like you can hear them go, "Oh, what?" You hear Wang Hai, you go, "Ah, what is that white man doing here? What does he want? Hey, Wei Chun, what does the white guy want?"
He says he loves the food here. Food is incredible here. He comes here all the time. Always spends his money here. His hard-earned. Look at him. Like, look at how he's dressed. He's wealthy. Loves the food here. And I also know. Hey, Singha! You heard that too, right?
At this point, I think Seha is like can hear the conversation happening, but can't pick up the words, and so she's like, she calls, oh, poor. I'm just like, unfortunately, she only really trusts Hung to deal with the kitchen when she can't be there, and so she calls him over. She's like, "Don't worry about the tables. You you look after these," and just ushers you into place.
Yeah, Gumho, you just immediately see Mosey start stir frying. Yep.
Yeah,
Singha, you come out onto like the floor, right? And you see this guy. He looks pleasantly baffled, right, by everything. He has like a smile going on. It's kind of nodding. Clearly has no idea what any of you are saying. And when you come, he goes, how is your English, Singha?
Oh, my English is pretty decent. I have 2 in listening, 2 in speaking, 1 reading, 1 writing. So
yeah, and the max is 3, right? 3 means fluent. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so that's actually pretty good. So you see him like look at you, and he goes, English?
Yes. So, yes. Sorry. My brother doesn't speak
great.
as well.
Oh, lovely. Yes, of course. I was wondering if anyone in this establishment could actually understand me, English and all that. So I'm glad you can. Are you the chef here? Do you own this place?
My brother owns it, but yes. I mean, we co-own it, but we co-run it, rather.
Oh, this must be your brother.
Yes. It's my.
He's a pleasant young man.
So, yeah, and I think we'll just like put like a hand on Wing Chun's like shoulder, and then
is he saying these things?
Yeah, and switching to Cantonese for you, like specifically. Yes, saying nice things. Now, can you please go and help serve things while I go talk to this man? And like ushers him off.
I think Wing Chun just like goes off a few feet and just like stands a few feet behind you, basically, and it's just like listening in, carrying like a platter of food.
Sure. Even though you can only understand none of the conversation unless Singha switches to Cantonese for some reason, but you're trying to gauge vibes. Sure. You're trying to gauge vibes. This man holds out his hand to you, and at the same time that he does, Singha, he says, I am Martin Wagren. Nice to meet you. And you are?
At this point, she make sure that she wiped off all the grease from cooking onto like her apron, and will take his hand. It's young. You can call me Lucille.
Lucille, that's a lovely name. And the two of you shake. And he kind of like lets go and continues smiling. Well, I'm with a company called WS Development. I'm what they call a landscape scouting specialist. I'm here to explore the extremely rich opportunities that there are in your vibrant, thriving community for some real estate development. Once again, opportunities. Is this something I can interest you in?
When you say real estate opportunities, what do you mean by that? Like,
imagine this, Lucille. And he puts a hand around your shoulder and gestures with the other hand, like up at an imaginary vision.
right? Yep.
A thriving community where whites, blacks, browns, Asians live together in beautiful apartments with a grocery store right next to where you need, with a swimming pool in the back if you so choose, with a garden, America's own picket fence inside urban communities. That is what I'm imagining Boston's future might look like, not just for the areas that I'm from. I'm from Southie, but there are so many exciting opportunities. Starting in the harbor, I believe there could be a thriving seaport district in just a couple of years, along with WS development. And I think Chinatown, on the other side of the seaport district, on the other side of that canal thing that we have here, could be a wonderful sister community to what we're planning on the harbor. Catch my drift?
I think Seha just blinks a bit, just having been word vomited all these things, just being like, but that, I mean, it sounds certainly nice. What would it mean for, places like restaurants here? I mean, this is where we,
of course,
this is our place, and we did settle here, and came over here, and this is. I would hate to see this go away.
Oh yeah, yes, of course, it's your home, but it was it was the home of the Pilgrims first, right? And then you came, and that's fine, and I've got nothing against that. But listen, what I'm here to offer you tangibly in actual things that might happen very soon is to put it frankly, your restaurant is on a very valuable piece of land, and WS Development is extremely interested in acquiring that piece of land from you with extremely generous, more than competitive, we're basically throwing money away at this point, compensation for you. You could then take that money, start up your own restaurant somewhere else. You could use it to buy a home. I assume that you rent?
Yes, as most people do here.
Yes, well, the money that we're offering you is more than enough for you to secure a home, and all we're asking for is for you to just move this location somewhere else. Hell, I'd be open to talking to you about moving it somewhere on WS Development's land ownership stakes. That's just a couple blocks down the road.
Well, and I think, she looks over at everyone in the restaurant and just looks back to him. Still has kind of like, a polite smile. It's like, well, obviously this is a big decision, right? It's just,
of course, please think on it. Think on it. I would want nothing less than your utter confidence in making the sale to me. If and when you make the right call, Lucille, and he reaches into his pocket and pulls out a business card, a really nice one, and hands it to you. Got a number right here you can call.
Great, and she'll take it and put it in her back pocket. Is there anything else I can do for you? As you can see, it's the lunch hour rush. So,
oh, actually, I've been meaning to try some Eastern cuisine. What might you recommend?
Oh, well, our specialty is roasted duck, and we also have a bunch of dumpling dishes if that's of interest to you.
Dumpling? Okay, yeah, I'll have a duck dumpling.
They're pork dumplings and roasted duck, separately things, but they're both very good. I assure you, they're both of our special dishes.
Excellent. Then sign me up for both. I'll have a whole duck.
Lovely. And she will, if I look back, turn around, I think, and finally realize that her brother's been just standing not that far
Yep.
away, and be like, he wants to sit and eat. Can you guide him to a good table?
Oh yeah, of course. And is it okay? Did you want me to get the free appetizer for him too?
No, no, we don't have
No
to do
free
that.
appetizer. No. Okay. Okay. Wing Chun guides the man to a table sort of away from the rest of the restaurant, so it's a little bit quieter, maybe away from the aunties.
Sure. Yeah, he sits down by himself and looks rather baffled by the chopsticks. Before you leave, Wing Chun, he like reaches up to you and says something to you in English. And Singha, you hear him ask for forks. Like a fork and a
Okay.
knife.
And in Cantonese, we'll just call it. He wants a fork.
I don't think we have any.
What happened? We had a set.
The silver, the cutlery, I gambled
Yes.
it all away.
Oh my.
I don't know what's going on here, but if it's too much trouble for a fork, I'll try these. And he picks up a chopstick in each hand.
Oh God, no.
I'll go see if we have any in the back.
Yeah,
and then
and
Wing
I'll
Chun
just in English, I'll be like, no trouble, no trouble. Just.
Oh, okay. I don't mind I love trying new cultures. As Wing Chun goes to the back and tries to find him a fork and a knife. While all this is happening, the kind of interest and hubbub in the restaurant dies down a bit. Like fewer people are just openly staring at this guy who like clearly doesn't belong here and like are settling back into their own conversations. Though a couple of the aunties do steal a look across the restaurant to look at him, right? And Ping Laosher and her girlfriend. Yeah, they're also kind of glancing at him a bit suspiciously. But other than that, he like spends the rest of his time in lunch here fairly uneventfully. The whole duck does come out. He immediately looks like he regrets it a bit that he asked for the entire duck. He only eats like less than half of it and asks for the rest to go. And he like nibbles at the dumplings and like squirts some of the juice out, like because he's just like, oh, this is hot, and like spits it back out on the spoon and doesn't really seem to know what he's doing or what to do with the food. But other than that, Marty Walgren has made the acquaintance of the Golden Palace, and I think the lunch rush kind of dies down, right? There's a bit of a lull between afternoon and evening. So in this lull time, what are the three of you doing? How do you handle your business before evening comes in?
Probably cleaning up and like starting to prep to shift over the dishes from lunch to dinner. But in the meantime, probably it's like has caught up the other two on what just happened. Like
Sure.
Has told them, he's looking to redevelop and buy this land. They would give us money enough, but that means we would no longer be able to stay here.
So where would we live?
I don't know. I don't know about if it's a good idea to say yes to this man, but that's what he's saying.
Did he say where else he was talking to?
No, he hadn't mentioned, but it seems like he's going around to all of Chinatown and asking, proposing this.
How much money exactly are we talking?
Oh, I actually didn't ask the exact amount.
Question for you, Singha. At this point, have you taken out the business card and like looked at it?
Yeah, I think so. I think we'll explain and everything and being like, oh yeah, he gave me this. I take out the business card.
Yeah, it's like a white business card, and there's a logo of an octopus.
Huh. Interesting. And I think in like midway through talking and like just showing off the cards, just like looks at the octopus and just like tilts her head at it.
And you notice the octopus, it's kind of like black and white, right? So the octopus has these like tendrils that come down and wrap around the words of WS development. And with that like wrapping, I think all of you, if you're looking at this, you flash back to that nightmare you had of those tendrils wrapping around the python, and then you come back into your bodies.
I actually will take out my my talisman and just see if the pattern on it or the on the words look like this what's on this card.
It looks extremely similar. Like the same graphic designer could have done it.
I'll place down the talisman face up so that everyone can see the similarities.
And all of you kind of feel in the pits of your stomachs something bad. Like a bad omen, just a bad gut feeling.
Yeah, I don't know about this. I mean, I don't really want to sell the restaurant if we're just selling it for pennies, right? And we don't have a place to live.
I'd rather not make this. We should probably ask. We should probably ask Lao Lao.
Yeah. I think you should ask Lala, and I'll hang out here.
You're saying you're going to send your sister by herself to go talk to Lao Lao.
I love you dearly.
I'd have to explain away why my poor dear brother couldn't bother to even say hello and pay his respects to Lao Lao.
I love you dearly, and I respect you, and I think that you have done a lot of great things for the community and the restaurant, and for us as a family. We're not blood related, but you know, you've done a lot of great things, and I trust that you would be a great representative for all of us.
So do I tell her that you ran into a wall and is down with a concussion, or do I tell her that you drank too much last night? That means that you're too hungover to see her.
Can you do like both? And maybe that I'm coming down with something too. Like maybe I'm just like, you know, a little bit sick.
Sure. Sure.
Come home. How are you conducting yourself in this conversation? Are you interested in also going to Lao Lao or minding the restaurant while Singha's gone?
I am cleaning up while this conversation is happening just in the background, but I am very focused and I don't impose to say that I would go as well. But I do wait to see if I'm called on to go along.
Okay. Yeah, so I think having realized that Wing Chun is just off the table, just like, Gahong, would you be willing to go with me?
I immediately put the broom away.
I mean,
this does mean
you conduct yourself better anyways.
Are you going to be closing your restaurant for like that block between now and like the dinner service as you go to Lao Lao? Or are you gonna trust Wing Chun to handle the beginning of the dinner service?
Oh God.
Things will be fine.
I mean, we just lost the silverware, apparently. and Singha's realizing that this is something that needs to be replaced, and that's just do not have the money to do that if we're closed for that period of time.
I'm like about to turn the sign over to closed. And then
What?
Just waiting.
It'll be fine. Trust me, things will be fine. Just keep it open.
I look at Singha.
Fine. Keep it open. Don't burn the kitchen down.
With what? I don't even know how to turn on the stove.
Jesus. And on that, we cut to the beginning of dinner service / Lao's place. We're going to go to Lao's place first. So you know where to find her. She's always in the back of the gambling parlor, which is in the back of the real estate brokerage, which is right next door. So as you enter the real estate brokerage, it's completely empty. There are like images of houses that don't exist that are like plastered on the walls with like various made up numbers for mortgages and like how much it would cost up front and stuff. And there is a man behind like a reception desk who is currently like fiddling with an abacus and doing some sort of paperwork. As you come in, he glances up at the two of you and just kind of nods and goes back to doing paperwork as you're able to just go past this Tong member, past this curtain, down a flight of stairs, and then past another curtain where you smell cigarette smoke immediately just hits you in the face like an actual physical tangible wall. You hear mahjong tiles clacking against velvet, right? You hear the shuffling of cards, you hear the rolling of dice, and like the talking of like men in low guttural tones, right? And women and people of all kinds just gambling in this area and arguing about gambling. None of them pay either of you any mind. You do frequent this area not inconsistently, so you are considered a member of the wider extended Tong network, for better and for worse. And as you make your way through the smoky crowd and the tiles and the tables, you are stopped by like these two kind of muscled people in front of a closed door, which is beyond which is Lao's private area and private room where she conducts her business. They both look at you, right? One of them narrows her eyes between the two of you and says, "You got an appointment or something?"
No appointment, but I think Singha had thought to bring whatever Lao's favorite dish is in a little like takeout offering.
It would be pig knuckles.
Okay, yeah. So it just has like a nicely freshly cooked batch. And it's just like, no, but something came up upstairs, and well, I am also bringing her some pig knuckles.
Huh. Well, she's busy right now, so you're better off checking back. And then the other guard kind of raises a hand at this younger, newer guard and says, "Pig knuckles, huh? Crack it open. Give me a sniff."
Yeah, just we'll open it up just that little bit, just for that wave of like grease and to hit the nose.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, she'll like that if we let him through. You can go. What? But I thought she was fine. And they open the door for you to enter. As the two of you enter Lao's private sanctum, you walk in on the middle of an argument that she's having with her son. There's a big kind of lavish table. Behind it is kind of like a wicker chair that Lao is sitting on. She's got her cane leaning against the table, and she's kind of like one elbow propped on the table, one hand clutching the side of her face, and she's kind of shaking her broad, deeply wrinkled face. Her face looks like it was definitely once considered very like conventionally beautiful. And you see like old-timey photographs of like the from when she was in her 20s or 30s, and she was like drop dead gorgeous. Now has done the classic like older Asian woman thing of like turning it into like a vaguely looks like a frog, like kind of short, squat, wide, and very like kind of cute in a way, with this like wiry white gray hair pulled up in like a no nonsense bun. That's Singha. You get like a gasp of who you might look like in the future with your bun as well. And she's wearing these like kind of padded quilt-like vest over herself because it's getting quite cold. Very much looks like a grandma. If it weren't for like, I think the very beautiful adorned rings on her fingers that look very expensive. As she's listening to her son, who has his back turned to you, you recognize him. He prefers it when you call him Louis. So we're going to call him Louis. He is a second generation Chinese American man. He has a Western style suit on with like a nice tie, and like his hair is shaved on the sides and kind of slicked and combed back in a very like Western fashion. He's very handsome, and he has taken, as of late, the attempt to grow a beard. So there's like a little bit of stubble around his jaw and a little bit of like a mustache, right? And he smells like cologne, right? You're kind of hip with it when you enter. And he's in the middle of saying in Cantonese as well, like, "Lao, please, you don't recognize how incredible of an opportunity this is. And I'm not going to hear much more of this from you, child. We have guests.
And seeing how we'll do a polite bow, apologetic in the sense too of just being like, sorry to come in.
Come in. Lewis, and she says that in English very pointedly. Please, greet our guests. Pour them some tea, some hot water. Would either of you like anything else?
Hot water's more than generous enough. Thank you.
And what about you, Gamhung? No? Yes, always the quiet but diligent child. Please, please. And Lewis reluctantly pulls up like 2 chairs for the 2 of you. How may I help the 2 of you? My favorite restaurateurs. Where is Wing Chun?
He is feeling poorly.
Poorly. I see. Perhaps I can persuade you to take some of my own medicine back to him so he might feel a little bit more above the weather and pay his respects to Lao Lao next time?
I think seeing how will kind of like incline her head in the I know that you've caught on to what's going on type of thing. And be like, my medicine will be more than enough. I learned from some of the best, yourself included. Before we forget, and we'll hand over the container of pig knuckles.
Her eyes light up. Oh, you always know what this old woman loves. She gestures at her son, who like takes the pig knuckles and kind of places it off to the side by like her stash of snack foods and whatnot. And she lowers her head courteously at the 2 of you. How may I help you? And on that, we cut over to Wing Chun.
No.
It's the beginning of the dinner service. You need to seat people, take their orders, cook the orders, serve them, bust the tables, and wash dishes. And it's the dinner rush. So immediately there are people starting to come in. So how are you fielding this?
I am feeling like I should give up a little bit.
Already?
Okay. So as people come in, I charm them, rush them to their tables, seat them, and then when I go back to the kitchen, I look for leftovers, anything that is sort of like the semblance of food.
Oh my God.
And requires little to no cooking. So raw vegetables that can make, that's edible.
You're just gonna feed them a raw carrot? I need you to make a roll. This is gonna be a challenge roll for how you handle like the first hour of dinner service by yourself.
Love it. How many dice go into the pool today?
Well, since we start with 68, so your chances are actually really good.
Hey, okay. Oh, there's one. All right. It's not good. So I got a 3. I got 3 threes, a 2, and 2 4s. So that cancels out the 2 3s, and so my highest roll is a 3.
Your highest roll is a 3. That is a failure. That is a failure with something bad happening on top of it.
Great.
The customers are pissed. Immediately you hear someone go, "A fucking carrot? What is this? The top's still on!" And then you hear someone else go, "This is just a bowl of oil. I asked for soup." And like people are starting to get like really mad. Not just that. Is that smoke that you're smelling coming from the kitchen?
Great. Awesome. I'm going to focus on the fire first before I go back to the customers. I'm just going to lock can we lock the front door, the door to the kitchen?
Locking the customers in?
I'm locking the kitchen door.
Oh, the kitchen? Yes, there is a door that never closes, but you close it and you lock the door to the kitchen. You lock yourself into the fire? The room with the fire?
Yes.
Okay.
This is gonna be fine. I just gotta figure out the fire situation. I don't want them to find out that the kitchen's on fire. So, I mean, if I lock myself in, then they won't be able to smell it, right?
Sure. You lock yourself in. You see a wok is on fire. There's just like a column of flame. There's something burning in the wok.
Great. I will reach for the closest thing of water.
Water? You're putting water on this fire.
Oh shoot, yeah. Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna do it.
We hear from, we don't see it, we hear from the dining hall kind of noise, and we see through the window in the door a flare of orange and red go up as you've poured water on a grease fire. And inside the kitchen, now the entire stove is on fire, and flame is licking the ceiling.
So maybe that wasn't a good idea. You know what? I'm gonna unlock the kitchen door, and
Okay.
I am just gonna exit the kitchen.
As soon as you unlock the kitchen door and exit, there is a young woman there, a teenager more like. You recognize her immediately. This is Si Meng, Qiu Si Meng. Her English name is Mary, third generation scion to the Tong legacy. She is Lao Lao's granddaughter. She's standing there. She's just come back from like Chinese school, which is right next door, and she like leans past you, Wing Chun, and sees the fire and goes, "Wing Chun, did you put water on a grease fire?"
No. Who would do that? That's silly.
And this 18-year-old girl pushes past you, runs to a fire extinguisher that's like locked against the wall, pulls it out, and like she sprays it down, right? And like the last bits of the fire start to peter out. People in the dining hall are going, "What the hell's going on? Where's my food? Was that a fire?" And just all kinds of like voices coalescing with each other.
You know, I was looking for that fire extinguisher. That's why I came out here.
But the fire extinguisher was in the kitchen, Wing Chun.
Oh, that's where it was. Okay, well, now I know.
大哥, you are very pretty, but there's not a lot of things happening in that head.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And she puts the fire extinguisher back down, and looks like kind of surmises you up and down, and kind of you see her and her friends have like commandeered a table by themselves. They're all like kind of like cool teens. You know what I mean? There's like, she's got 4 friends, all of whom worship the ground that she walks on. And they're going, "Hey, Mary, what's going on?" Like in English. Like, "What's happening, Mary? What's going on back there? Is that a fire?" And Mary calls back in English, like, "It's fine. I've got it covered." And then switching seamlessly back to Cantonese, says to you, 大哥, do you need some help in the kitchen?"
Do you know how to cook?
Not really, but Vincent does.
Do
you let these teenagers help you finish out dinner service?
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
Lala's gonna fucking kill us.
We cut back to Lao Lao. I assume you're done telling Lao Lao the story of the man that came in and what he's offering and whatnot.
And just being like, you know, I think with her, I'm willing. I wouldn't say this to Lewis directly, but with her, I'm like, I don't know. I just feel bad about this. Like I'm getting some sort of like bad feeling about this. She would not say this to Lewis, but she will to Lao Lao, essentially.
Sure. Gam Hong, do you contribute anything to this conversation, or are you mostly like sitting there and observing?
It's the latter.
I figured I'd ask either way. But yeah, as you finish your story, Lala just kind of nods, nursing a cup of hot water for herself. And then she looks pointedly at Lewis, and then back at the two of you. And then she stands with her hands clasped behind her back in classic old Chinese person fashion. 昨天晚上, last night, I had a strange dream. I dreamed of a beautiful gate that was not of this time, with jade tiles and an alabaster set of pillars, and a proclamation across the front that said, "Under heaven, everything for everyone." I saw streets that looked like our streets, but populated with vehicles, cars of strange makes, our people wearing strange clothes. It did not look like it was spun from our time. And then came the tendrils, the shadows, arms that were quite like the arms of some deep-sea beast, tangling their way up the Paifang and crushing it. With such rapacious greed, such envy, such hunger. A bad omen. My mother, I don't know if I've ever told it to of you. No, she's with the ancestors now. But back in China, my mother was a fortune teller, a matchmaker. She was oft struck with prophetic dreams and said that I carried the gift that burdened her. And well, I let these dreams guide everything, not just who I should marry my son off to, but also what direction I should take my business in. It is by listening to the spirits of the old home and of our ancestors that I was able to shepherd the Tiu family into such a position in Chinatown. I think that the dream I had last night bodes poorly for this Westerner, this foreigner, trying to come into our community and disrupt our lives and our businesses. Louis, my fool son, seems to think otherwise. And at this point, Louis, who has been listening rather darkly this whole time, speaks up, addresses not just his mother, but the two of you as well. This man that you mentioned, this Mr. Connie, please remember your NPC's name. Mr. Walgren. This Mr. Walgren. We can use him, yes? We can take his money, maybe even sell. What purpose is a piece of land but something for us to grow our home upon? It is not a home. A home is what we make it, yes? We can take this Wagren's money and we can use it to invest in commercial properties, to expand our reach beyond just Chinatown. And Lalo gives Louis a very sad look. Chinatown is our home. We helped build it from the ground up 40 years ago when we first immigrated here. What are you trying to do with this money that we could not already have by pouring it back into our community? America is the future. China is the past. I'm trying to live in the future, Lao Lao. What did the two of you say to
that? This is very awkward for Zinga to be in the middle of. Like, she is very aware about, like, family dispute. Like, this is not an uncommon thing for her. It is a little awkward to be like sat here between your boss and your boss's mom.
Mm-hmm. It does, I think, speak to, specifically for you, Singha, how closely Lala regards you. Because this kind of family dispute would never happen in front of a stranger. Like, ever, ever, ever. But she's kind of welcomed you in here to her inner circle a little bit.
Okay. Well, that's nice, at least. I love that little bonus of awkwardness. And I think Singha is just like, well, we seem to be doing well here right now. I mean, we could always rebuild if we needed to, but I don't really see the need to rebuild, at least not without everyone agreeing to it. I wouldn't want to sell the restaurant without, my lovely brother's also his input, and also with Gamhong's input either. And this seems like it should be affecting not just us, it's affecting you, it seems. How many people do you think he's talked to, this Mr. Walgren?
He's spoken to the administrators of the school. He's spoken to several other restaurant owners. He's spoken to us through the real estate brokerage, but I had a feeling that he knew what we were really up to. I had a feeling he was trying to talk to me, but my English is no good. Louis has been translating for me. He's been the main person interfacing with this Mr. Walgren. He seems to be very interested, based on what I can tell, in buying up Chinatown.
Well, we wouldn't want to make the decision against your wishes. Kind of trying to like dance around these two.
50 years ago, there was a immigration raid that the Boston Police Department staged upon a funeral service several of our community members were holding for one of our own. They took that as an opportunity to round up as many men as they could catch, 200 some. Deported 40 or 50 of them. Some of them they even made up fake papers, called them illegitimate, even though they weren't paper sons. I will never trust a foreigner. Lalo, you're being discriminatory. Not every foreigner is like that. This Mr. Walgren, like I said, we can use him. And that happened 50 years ago. 50 years ago is not a very long time ago at all, Lewis.
Yeah, I think Singha will look at Gong Hong and just very quietly be like, ask if, do you think there's anything else we should talk about here?
Yeah, Hong will take out his the peace talisman again, and then place it down so that everyone can see it, and then also push the card that we were given and say, today the talisman changed, and these two look the same as what we dreamed of last night.
You dreamed of it as well. And you, Singha?
I did too. And so did Wing Sheng.
An ill omen indeed. This piece of blessed paper from a temple back home being affected by these dark tendrils. Look! It looks like the tendrils on this octopus, the dark sea beast. Lewis, this man doesn't represent our future. He represents our downfall. Oh, Mother, you are too superstitious. I didn't have a dream last night. That's because you haven't cared about the old ways since the old ways are old. The new ways are what we should care about. I've had enough of this. And Lewis storms out of the room. Yeah. Well, I agree with the two of you. Whatever decision we make should be communal. Everyone who has a stake in this should be able to have a voice about what to say. We should talk more about this soon and aptly, but I'm leaning toward not selling toward this man. I think we should stand strong. I don't think any of us should sell toward this development company.
I pour tea for Lala and also serve her the pig knuckles.
Yeah, she just in classic fashion doesn't thank you, right? Just kind of takes it, right? Because it's what you're supposed to do. Like sips the tea and like pulls like a pork knuckle toward herself. Yes, it's almost dinner time, isn't it?
Yes.
Shouldn't you be minding? Is it just Wing Chun?
Yes. He said that he could handle it, and so I chose to trust him this time.
You should get back soon.
Thank you, Lello, for your hospitality, and
of course,
we'll talk soon about all of this.
We shall, but in the meantime, I shall count on the two of you not to sell. Yes?
Yes.
Good. I'm glad we are in agreement. And then the two of you Go ahead.
Yeah, I think Sneha is like, when someone is walking in a hurry, but they're trying not to seem like they're walking in a hurry. That's what's happening right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gamhung also hurrying.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
like the power shuffle, right? And all the two of you power shuffling out of Lalao's room. We're gonna cut the break. So everyone, thank you so much for tuning in so far. We'll be back in just about 10 minutes. Enjoy the waiting room situation. Make sure to follow everyone here. Buy your own copy of Jiangshi Blood in the Banquet Hall. It is a super fucking dope and very, very, very cool game. There's a lot of very cool components that's part of it. It's like a board game plus an RPG in all the best ways. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Love you all. See you soon.
Okily dokily, we are out. Sorry, one break. Oh my gosh, it's so loud in my ears. Hold on.
Hello, we are live. Welcome back from your break. I hope you all had a good time munching on some snacks and using the bathroom. Before we hop right back into the session, a reminder of content warnings for this particular session, because Jiangshi Blood in the Banquet Hall does deal with some horror themes as well as themes about xenophobia, xenophobia, and racism. So content warnings for this particular episode may include racism, xenophobia, microaggressions, generational trauma, creepy vibes, fantasy violence, death, possession, ghosts, guns as weaponry, teenager endangerment, like the level seen in Stranger Things, desecration of graves, zombies, nightmares, visions, hallucinations, deportation/immigration themes, and gentrification. So please take care of yourselves. Your safety is obviously the number one priority. If at any point things in this get kind of intense, please step away from the stream as needed, and trust that we are also using safety tools at the table to facilitate play in the way that we would like to play. So with that out of the way, we're going to hop right back into the session, picking up right where we left off. Wing Chun. These teenagers are surprisingly extremely competent. You see them bustling through the sprayed down, fire extinguished kitchen, mopping up the foam, changing out the dishes, and chopping up the vegetables, prepping the seafood, prepping the duck, prepping the dumplings, doing everything they need to do to run this kitchen efficiently. And the scion of the Tong clan here, Mary, she helps you take orders, right, and serve between the kitchen and the dining hall, right? Kitchen, dining hall, kitchen, dining hall. And with the support of these teenagers behind you, you're able to continue dinner service in a way that doesn't include burning down the Golden Palace. And I think it's on you, working side by side next to this teenager, that the other two members of your family come back through the doors on the heels of their conversation with Lao Lao. My good friends, Sing Ha and Gam Hung, there is a distinct lingering smell of something burning in the banquet hall, though you don't see any active fire happening, and you do notice Lao Lao's granddaughter scampering next to Wing Chun taking orders as you enter.
Oh, no. Okay.
Oh, hey, you're back. You could have gone for another hour. It's totally fine. Things are running by themselves here. See?
They're not running by themselves. They're running with, I am so sorry. And like directs like that towards Mary.
Oh, Daddy, hi. I'm just taking some orders. I'll be there in a second. And she has like a notebook up and an apron on and is taking a customer's order.
Oh my God. I mean, I love her. Like, think how it's conflicted. She's like, oh my God, like this is great. I'm so glad we have help. But also the other part of her is like, shit, that Lala's granddaughter. Like, and so she's like, oh my, and I think she beelines to the kitchen to see. And
you see 4 teenagers. 2 of them are on like the cook station, and the other 2 are one of them is prepping, and the other one is dishwashing.
Oh my God. I think Sing has to stand there for a bit, just like in shock. Just like, oh, okay. Hi, thank you so much for helping. You really don't have to be doing this anymore.
Oh, and the dishwasher, who you recognize as Ping Fei, or his English name is David, kind of raises a soapy gloved hand and waves it at you. Oh, hi there, Sister Tong. We're just, don't mind us. You don't even necessarily have to pay us. We just like hanging out here. I mean, we wouldn't say no to money, but
we can discuss later. You'll definitely be fed. Don't worry about that. This is being like, do your parents?
Thanks.
Do your parents know?
Oh, they don't care as long as we just get back before midnight. We did want to hit up the graveyard by the southeast before we went back home, though. But Mary's kind of the ringleader, so she's gonna tell us when we're gonna do that. And she's kind of out working the floor right now.
I did notice that. Right. And I think she just kind of like awkwardly inserts herself back into the kitchen, and it's just like she like keeps looking at these kids as if like they're like as if she's imagining them. She's just like, what is happening? Oh, and I also
Absolutely.
definitely noticed that the stove had certainly been on fire at some point.
Yeah, it looks scorched. There's a few flecks of like fire extinguisher foam still on the ground.
I immediately go to try to clean that up before she could notice, but obviously it's too late.
And Gamhung's like actively scrubbing it as you notice.
Yeah, it's like what?
Yeah. And like we'll like freeze when our eyes meet, and then turn away and just continue scrubbing.
All right. We'll talk about this later.
So I think the three of you are able to finish out dinner service with the aid of the teenagers who I think you gradually, bit by bit, are able to like get out of the kitchen, right? So they can actually like be children and like enjoy food and not have
it's
to
very
work,
much just like
right?
as soon as one of them seems complete with the task, it's like, oh right, and now out you go.
Yes. And you're able to like shuttle them out like one by one until all of them are back sitting by like a little banquet table that they've held for themselves, holding court in a corner of the Golden Palace with Simeng, Mary, at the front of it, talking to them in excitable but rather hushed tones. Like they're planning something secret but not being really good at keeping it secret. And they all seem really excited. That's what all of you notice. Whenever you get the chance to like peek out into the banquet hall, this corner of teenagers seem extremely eager about whatever they're gonna do later that night. And that phrase sticks in your head, Singha, like the graveyard later tonight. They're gonna go to the graveyard? But there are other things on your mind as well. Your conversations with Lao Lao and Lewis are still swirling in your minds, as well as the tendrils of that strange tentacled beast. And that man, that white foreigner, talking about buying up your property, buying up your livelihood, buying up your home. All of these things are weighing heavy on the consciousness. So I think eventually dinner service starts to peter out. People like start to leave and it's time to start cleaning up. The table of teenagers is the last to pack up. As we're winding down, what do we find the three of you doing? I assume you fill in Wing Chun about what happened.
Yeah, probably. And I think this is probably done as I'm making dinner for us. And I think I'm also making dinner for the kids. I'm making food as like, thank you. Because I do not think we can afford to pay them, but like we can at least feed them. Thanks for helping. So we probably fill Wing Chun in while this is happening.
Well, Singha, it seems like the kids really enjoyed working here. So, I mean, they're all excitable about something. It's probably the restaurant.
We cannot give them part-time jobs if we do not have the money to pay them. And we cannot have the money to pay them unless you stop.
Stop what?
Giving your money away to the next door neighbors.
Oh, right. That, my side hustle.
Oh yeah, Gugu. My dad says that you still owe him what, like $52?
Ah, yeah, $52. I have that, buddy. I just am waiting for it to clear.
Uh-huh. Okay, I'll tell my dad that.
Okay. Thank you for letting me know.
You're welcome. And Simon goes back to like conspiring. At this point, it's definitely after hours, right? I assume Gamhung is the one to like flip the sign over, right, at like the front of the store as you bring out like the last quote unquote service of the night, which is to feed yourselves and the children, the teenagers. And as you come out with this food and you start to sit down and eat and like take a load off, all of you overhear their very eager conversation. And Simung is in the middle of saying, it'll be fine, okay? Like, our parents aren't even really gonna notice because they're all so tired, right? And, you know, I don't have a mom. And you, Vincent, right? Like, your mom and your dad, they're both working, like, double shifts at the factory down the road. And Sarah, you know, your mom also picked up a double shift, and your dad's been like out of the country for like ever. So we're gonna be okay, all right? And it's not gonna be that big of a deal. We're just gonna go in, see what's happening, and then come back home.
Should we be intervening?
Do you say this out loud to your siblings?
Loud enough that the children can hear, but it's directed towards to Singha and old Gamhung as well, like if Gamhung's like in the scene.
Yeah, you're all in like the same banquet hall area.
Yeah. It's directed towards the both of you, but
The
It's
team can
probably
actually
very loud.
hear this.
yeah.
No intervention necessary, big brother. We're just gonna go, because everyone felt weird tremors last night. And, because of how smart we are, we were able to figure out that they probably came from like the southeast area, just a little southeast of Chinatown. So we're gonna check it out. Yeah. And this is Vincent popping in. And that's kind of where the graveyard is. The Chinatown graveyard. So we were thinking maybe it's ghosts. What the hell is a ghost? And this is Sarah chiming in. I got nervous and I'm scared, okay? I tried to say ghost and ghoul at the same time, so it just came out as goose. And then all of his friends start ragging on him for saying goose.
That is very funny. God, no, Singha's. Yeah, Singha's just like, well, it's not good to be going out at dark this hour to the graveyard. I mean,
We'll be fine. We're just gonna go check out, see what's happening. Everyone says it was like a minor earthquake, but based on what I heard, I've got some the public school I go to during the day has some not Chinese kids in it, and they didn't feel anything. So I think it was just kind of like a Chinatown thing that happened. So I'm just like curious about what's happening. I mean, it's our home, and we're bored.
and idle hands gets you in trouble.
Exactly. So we're keeping our hands occupied by going to the graveyard in the middle of the night.
I mean, we could go too.
Yeah? You want to come with us?
Oh no.
But you're not gonna rat on us for going, right? Because Lala would lose her mind.
Oh no, I just realized what I said. I was thinking it in my mind and I said it out loud. I didn't mean to do that, but it happened. I guess, well, yeah, we could go with you.
And you're just Gamon's just shaking his head silently. That
Gahan
sounds like
will
fun.
Actually, like, take the broom that he's been sweeping with, and then give it to Wington, and then like put his hands on where it should be to sweep, and then like go stand by the teens, like, I will go, but doesn't actually say anything.
Other big bro, are you gonna come too? Yes. Hey, is it true that you're secretly a badass martial artist?
It's true.
Yeah, is it?
It's true. That's totally true.
Oh, can you show us some moves? If we
Show
run
some
into some geese, maybe we'll kick their butts.
Show
No?
them the thing that you do.
Yeah, show us the thing. What thing? Show us the thing.
You did it that one time.
Yeah, show us the thing that you did one time.
At this point, Singha just like to the rescue, just be like, now, if we're going to go, I will have to come with you to make sure that none of you do anything too disrespectful, right?
Yeah, definitely.
No, it's not safe for you.
Uh,
Singha can handle her own. What
Both
do
of
you
you stay.
mean, no, big bro?
I will go.
By yourself? I don't think so. The geese will get you. It's not geese, it's ghosts and ghouls. Goads, damn it. And they all start making fun of Vincent for saying goads.
Gamho, I already said that I was going to go with you.
You'll die first.
Die?
Wait, what?
What? Wait, none of us are talking about die.
What?
It's just respectful.
Wait. Big bro, do you think there are actual real ghosts there?
It's the ancestors.
Why would you think I would die first?
Gaga, let's not kid ourselves.
Hunk just glances at the kitchen where a faint scent of like burnt stove is still wafting.
Well, I really wanted to go and explore, but if what you're saying, I mean, I guess you're right, it is the ancestors, and we wouldn't want to make them mad. Oh, but I really want to know what happens out there. Hey, if the three of you go, will you tell us what you find? Seriously, Mary? I really wanted to go. I had like a little candle packed, and a knife. And Sarah pulls out a knife, like a paring knife. Sarah, what good is a paring knife gonna do against a ghost? I don't know. Okay. Sarah puts it away. Okay, fine. Well, I guess we're all pretty tired from doing dishes and sweeping and serving and, doing manual labor. So I guess we could maybe take it easy tonight. But if the three of you go, you have to promise us you're going to tell us exactly what happened last night. Tomorrow.
Yeah. Everything. We're definitely going to go.
Gaga, look me in the eye and say you're definitely going to go tonight.
Yeah, we're going to go.
Are you lying?
Yes.
Yeah. Simon squints at you and says, what I didn't mention about what my father said about you owing him $52 is that he also mentioned breaking your kneecaps.
Okay, I guess we're going
tonight,
to the
right?
cemetery.
Okay. Yep. She like Mary leans back into her seat and looks satisfied. So, I asked the three of you as a GM, are you going to the graveyard in the dead of night tonight?
Okay, so the thing is that Singha is not going to let Gaohong go by himself. That's like unacceptable to her. She's like, no. Protective sister mode engaged.
Mm-hmm. And I guess Wing Chun has to go because of the threat of kneecaps.
Yep. Guess we'll have to go.
Okay. So the three of you tidy up your business here. You send the teens back, the terrible teens, back to their homes, right? Making sure that they don't
each like a piece of candy before they go.
Aw, like one of those little melon candies before they became wrapped in plastic, because this was before plastic was invented.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, those little like pieces of melon candy, you hand it to them. They're really into it. They also bring home like extra food that you had all like made for them. They like pack it in these little containers and they go take it home. And after you say goodbye to them, you shut down the business, you like close and lock the doors. And as you step out into the street, like a dark chill has settled over the boulevards of Chinatown. There are a couple of like street lamps flickering, but like some of them are out. You know, Chinatown has never exactly been the Boston government's top priority when it comes to filling potholes and making sure all the infrastructure is up to snuff. And there's like a couple of pieces of trash littering around that the early morning trash pickers and street sweepers will no doubt clean up after just like the busy day of commerce and culture and exchange here in Chinatown. But as the teens had mentioned, you are aware, all of you know what the Zhulong burying ground is and where it's located. It's kind of to the southeast of Chinatown, near-ish to the Boston Common, where there's more greenery in the midst of this urban sprawl. And it is where many of Chinatown's dead are buried. separate from, like, away from where white people are allowed to be interred. So what do we see as the three of you set off toward the Zhulong burying ground?
I think Han would actually ask the other two, like, if they have family buried there, and then basically bring like fruits to offer to them.
Yeah, I think she has parents are buried there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think
What about
Wington
Wington
as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Wington has his parents buried there as well.
Yeah, okay. So I think maybe the three of you do bring like some degree of offerings, oranges, incense to burn, that sort of thing. A couple coins here or there to place upon the shrines. And as you make your way out of the beating heart of Chinatown, kind of toward the southeastern outskirts of it, you start making your way out of gray, hard, rain-soaked pavements up toward like a grassy kind of knoll, as well as these low wrought iron fences that rise to demarcate the beginning of the cemetery and the end of like the city square of Chinatown. As you make your way up a kind of dirt path, the clouds thicken over the rising moon, threatening rain. And in fact, as you reach kind of the apex of this grassy hill and start to enter the cemetery proper, you feel a couple of like cold drops spatter wetly against your head and shoulders. If any of you were particularly forethoughtful, you would have packed umbrellas. So I wouldn't say that you have nothing to guard against. I assume Singha is the one that would have thought ahead. But it's just Mamao Yu right now, just a little drizzle, nothing hard, no downpour. Just a couple of caterpillar kisses here and there on your heads and shoulders. And then you reach the first rows of the graveyards. You see tombstones rising out of the earth, gray, regal, and stately. A couple of them who were able to have family that scrounged together more than just a little bit of money also even have the deceased's like likeness engraved upon the tombstone, and the particularly fancy ones have like wider offering tables, almost like miniature shrines set next to each other. You all also notice something rather out of place. In the darkness, in the near distance, part of it obscured by the divot of a hill, because as the hill starts to crest downward, you only see the top of the structure. Something that looks vaguely mechanical, like a large machine of some kind. There's like a flat steel top that then titrates downward, and there's a bit of glass glimmering against it. But the rest of it is hidden by the curve of the hill. It's deeper within the cemetery. Other than that, completely still. What do the three of you do?
I would go and offer the offerings first, because that's the respectful thing to do. So
Absolutely.
I mean, I wouldn't say any of that. I would just look at Singha expectantly, like, and then like holding the offerings.
Yeah, I think Singha will be just like we'll join in and do the appropriate offerings to her parents.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, also because I don't have any family here. So I'm just bringing along what you would be offering.
Yeah, makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think all of the two of you have family buried farther down the hill, so you don't have to crest it quite yet. So you're able to pay your respects, put offerings down, and pray a little bit to the ancestors. So what offerings exactly are you placing upon your parents' shrines?
I think it is the fruit, and then like 2 coins, and then the incense is, I think, having to like cover it with a hand from the rain, just enough to light it.
I like that a lot.
I think I offer a little bit of moonshine that I had in like a little cup, leave it there, and some fruit.
And what about Gamhung?
I just carried the things, but
Sure.
now that they're offering, I think I will also pay my respects, because they're the elders, of people that I'm close with, and people who have ostensibly like taken me in and like sheltered me and stuff. So yeah, pay my respects. But I also think that I do it, and then I very quickly stand up, and then I'm like very alert, to anything that's around us.
Yeah, I think as soon as the three of you are done praying and offering your respects and you stand, you're kind of opening your ears and your eyes, taking in as much stimuli as you can before moving onward. And as all of you straighten up, you start to feel the ground shake. And there is a noise, like a rather loud, ugly kind of noise accompanying the shaking of the ground. And all of you see, like past the peak of the hill, whatever the top of that machine was, it dips down, it moves out of the way. Whether you don't know if it's toppled over or if it's moved somehow, but it's gone now. It kind of dips under the crest of the hill as everything around you starts to shake, and that very loud, ugly, rusted noise accompanies it. What did the three of you do?
Oh boy. Singhai's not running in first. I will say that just based on who she is.
Wingchun definitely runs.
Away?
Away.
Okay, that's totally fine. Wing Chun, you're like, fuck this. And you turn and you start to book it back toward Chinatown. What about Gamhung?
Seeing that Wing Chun has like run away, I'm like, good. And then I head up to investigate, like
over the hill. Okay.
Yeah.
Singhai, do you follow Wing Chun or do you follow Gamhung?
So here's the thing. Singhai's like, oh shit. They've gone separate ways. Wing Chun technically needs more protection because she knows that Gamhung can handle himself, but also Wing Chun is the one running away to safety, and Gamhung's running towards the danger. And I think her calculus goes, okay, I'm gonna go towards Gamhung and just like follow him. And
okay.
Oh my gosh! If I I noticed you coming like along, and I'm like just gesturing for you to go.
I was like, it's just like, what do you mean? You're the one. That's dangerous.
Running and slapping silently. I love this. But you accompany Gamhung toward the source of the danger, which as soon as you crest the hill and start to go down it, you see what that thing was, that structure, that machine. I don't know if any of you I don't think either of you have seen it up close before, but you have, while ambulating about Boston, seen similar machines from a distance. And this might be anachronistic of me, so if they weren't invented by the 1920s, I am so sorry, but it's happening now. It is a bulldozer. There is like a big, like, ugly shovel with teeth at the bottom and some kind of figure inside driving it. But from this distance, you don't know who it is or what they might be looking like or dressed like. They are piloting the bulldozer and running over graves. And the teeth is digging into the dirt and pulling up tombstones and excavating big piles of dirt to the point where you can see like coffins, like the bare surfaces of coffins beginning to be exposed, and or just like the flesh of bodies if they were just buried directly in. You also see to the bulldozer's west a big pile of earth from the previous night's excavations, and the trembling you felt in your dream and physically starts to make sense. This machine has been at it for at least one night already and is doing it again tonight. Like a quarter of the graves at the bottom of this hill have already been excavated, and whoever's in it continues to drive.
Okay. And does it look like anyone else is around?
As you cast your gaze around, you see 3 points of movement. One is under the shade of a maple tree. You see a man standing there, and he seems to be shouting at the bulldozer, but it's so fucking loud that you can't hear exactly what he's shouting or what he's saying, but you do recognize him. It's that white foreigner who came into the restaurant earlier today. And he's shouting at the bulldozer, like waving his arms and like making some sort of gesture. And the other 2 points of movement are coming out of the ground. Wing Chun, as you flee back toward Chinatown, something clenches around your ankle and you fall to the ground.
I turn around and I assume it's one of my siblings because why not, right? Maybe they're pulling a prank on me or something.
You see pale, rotted fingers clenched around your ankle coming out of a grave. And then you see a face with half of its mouth rotted away to expose like the sediment of teeth and just the corner of perforated jawbone. Eyes that are glazed over. They look like the eyes of dead fish at the wet market, and hair that's rotting off in clumps. A dead, rotted body. And the term comes to you immediately, Jiangshi, as this zombified vampire creature. Its grip clenches tightly, so tightly around your ankle, but it's not even the physical pain of it that gets to you. It's the spiritual pain. This thing is draining you, and I need you to cover another one of the slots on your character sheet with a Jiangshi block.
Oof. I no longer have gambling or mahjong tiles.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
How are you reacting to this,
making you
Wing Chun?
better.
It's made me into a better person. I am drained. I'm tired. And I think I'm just like feeling the ground for something that I can use to push this Jiangshi like away from me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are offerings from shrines nearby. There are loose clumps of dirt. That's all you really have.
Yeah, okay. I grab some clementines. I grab some small cups of maybe like rice, if people like, put rice in the cups as an offering, and I just throw them at this undead thing.
You grab sacred offerings off of ancestral shrines and you chuck them at this thing. A clementine bounces off of its head, right? A bowl of rice scatters across its face. You see a couple of slightly stale clumps of rice fall into its open mouth. They look like maggots squirming on its rotted tongue as it continues to clamber out of the grave at you. Are you technically the oldest?
I am. I think I am.
Then, yes, your mother's voice rings in your head as you think of Jiangshi. And as the oldest, you have access to this card, Defeating Jiangshi 101. And you hear her voice ring out, saying these pieces of lesson toward you. At the sound of a rooster's call, the Jiangshi retreats. Jiangshi are afraid of their own reflection, but only in psychically cleansed mirrors. Vinegar's acidity is toxic to the skin of a Jiangshi. Uncooked rice stops a Jiangshi in its tracks. That rice has been cooked. Psychic spells immobilize the Jiangshi. And finally, hold your breath, child, if you don't want to be sensed by a Jiangshi. And then those lessons kind of fade away as this thing continues to crawl out of the grave. And now you are hearing shifting coming from the graves of the shrines you have disturbed.
I let out a crow, trying to imitate a rooster.
Roll for it. I need that roll. And we are cutting one from the pool because this is a one shot. And every time we roll, I'm going to cut one from the pool. So
I got
that is
3 8s.
You got 3 8s?
Yes.
What the? Okay, that is a success. Give me your rooster crow. I need you to do it, Banana. I need you to do it for Wing Chun.
Wait, what did roosters sound like again? They sound like...
Okay, you make the crowing noise of a rooster. Because that is a positive, that is a success with something good happening. There is a pause. As this Jiangshi freezes and like lets go of your ankle. And it starts to sink back into the grave, letting the dirt cover it. And the other two graves that have started to move stop being disturbed. Like whatever is within them, interred within, become immobile. Wing Chun, you are sat there flat on your ass, the crowing of a rooster still burning in the hoarseness of your throat. And then we pan across the hill to find our other two lovely heroes. So Singha and Gamhong. The other 2 points of movement are directly beside this man. He doesn't seem to notice it. But the two of you, before your very eyes, you see hands shoot out of the dirt, and two Jiangshi start to claw themselves out of where they've been interred. You see rotted clothes hanging from gray, filthy skin, clods of dirt mounted within missing chunks of scalp. Quite horrifying. What do the two of you do?
I think Singha will look to Gamhong. What do we do?
Okay. I think will like take a moment and put both hands on Singha's shoulders and say, "Stay here," and then we'll probably just like. I don't think I brought anything. Oh, take a coin out of his pocket, and is like a little sad about it because it's a lot of his income and his savings, and I think we'll flick it at the closest Jiangshi towards whatever that figure, or towards
Mr. Walgren? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need you to roll for it. So that's gonna be 4d8 because we've already rolled twice.
4d8. Okay. Okay, it's 2, 6, 4, and 2.
2, 6, 4, and 2. You cut the 6 from the 4, so it's a 2. So the highest you get is a 2, which is a negative. That is a failure with something bad happening. So what does it look like as you're rushing down and flicking the coin toward the closest Jiangshi?
I mean, I feel like I definitely end up flicking the guy instead. I think I missed.
Yes. And I'll give you, and I forgot to give this to you as well, Banana. Both you and Gamhong will have a gold D8 that you can add to your pool for failing. That's an individual D8 that you can spend. But as you flick the coin, it misses its arc. It goes over the Jiangshi's head. In fact, Gamhong, you know your aim to be true. You are not a man of many words. You're not super charismatic. That's never been your thing. You keep your head down, you do the work, you make money. But something you are undeniably fucking good at is fighting. So it is not you that missed. Something in the air, a bad omen. You hear Lalao's voice swirl in your head, redirects the trajectory of the coin upward and slams it with the power of like a rock in a slingshot against the side of Mr. Wagren's head. And he just falls. I don't know if you've ever seen someone get clocked in the head with a rock. They don't stumble backward. If they've truly been knocked out with that hit, they drop. They drop like a sack of bricks. He's in the middle of shouting and then he just goes down. Like he's been completely shut off from all organic systems within his body. And then the Jiangshi are upon him. Singha. As Gamheng covers a slot with a Jiangshi card, as that mystic energy that had redirected it seems to take a toll on you, right? You're drained by the effort of missing him, even though he didn't want to. Singha, you see this man drop as the bulldozer continues onward and keeps ripping graves up. And with each new grave that's ripped up, you see more Jiangshi start to surface from the earth. But whoever's in the bulldozer either doesn't notice or doesn't care. The former is more likely it's super fucking loud, and whoever's operating it likely has tunnel vision. What do you do?
I know that Gamhun just told me to stay put, but that's not happening right now. And I think that she starts booking it towards the bulldozer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you? You are aware, and you can as a player above the table, that if timely action is not taken to save Mr. Walgren, his fate is very grim indeed.
Yeah, unfortunately, she's very protective about her people and not really about this random white man that showed up and threatened the neighborhood. So,
okay,
I leave.
Excellent. You're like, okay, yeah, I love it. I love this decision. You run toward the bulldozer. As you're booking it down the hill, you run past Gamheng. And as you approach the bulldozer, the figure that's driving it becomes clearer and clearer and clearer. You see a Western-style suit. You see hair that's shaved on one side. You see the hair slicked back. And you see Lewis, Malao's son.
At this point, I think she's just like screams at the top of her lungs, "Lewis, you fucking idiot!" As she jumps, she is going to try to like get into, not like she's trying to get his attention.
Okay,
and that may include having to get into the cabin, into the cab.
So you're trying to jump onto the bulldozer, open the door, and like enter the passenger side cabin?
Trying, yes.
Okay, that's a roll. That's 3d6. Sorry, 3d8. Make that roll.
What happened? That's a 6, a 4, and a 1.
So the 4 cancels out the 6. Good news, you get a d8. Bad news, that is a with something bad happening. So I think that means you are unable to get inside the cabin, but you're kind of clinging onto the side of the bulldozer. It's going faster than it looks on the outside. On the outside, it doesn't go that fast, but as soon as you're on it, you fling yourself on it. Oh god, you're going. And it's shaking a lot. It's super loud, and it's super jittery. It's not like being in a car or on a horse. It's like every moment you have to fight to stay on so you don't get thrown off and hurt yourself by getting flung onto the ground and knocking your head against a headstone, or worse, run over under the tread or in front of the shovel. So you're hanging on for literal dear fucking life. Lewis notices you. He has those like big ear muffle headphones on, but he kind of turns as you thump on and like double takes, and like his eyes go wide with shock. And then you see, as the ground is flitting past your feet, hands shoot out one by one by one by one as Jiangshi feel you're passing and are grasping at you. You see them start to climb out of their graves. So many of them. This is a literal propagation field for Jiangshi. They're coming out, popping up like worms after a storm. After a much-needed storm waters parched lands, they're popping up like rotted worms, and they're starting to crawl with surprising dexterity and speed onto their feet, and instead of running towards you, they are hopping. And there's something about the strange, jittery way that they hop that makes it more eerie than if they just stumbled or even ran towards you. They're hopping toward you, and they're starting to catch up. And I think you can see the Jiangshi in like the big rear view mirror that's poking out from the side of the bulldozer. And I need you to cover one of your slots with a Jiangshi card from the psychological horror of seeing this happen.
Sounds good. Oh boy.
Wing Chun. As the last of the rooster's call leaves your throat, and these 3 Jiangshi go back to being undisturbed for now. You hear that bulldozer noise get louder and louder, and you know that even though you were loud enough to save yourself here, that rooster's call was not quite loud enough to cut over the roaring of the bulldozer. If you want to attempt this trick again, you have to get that thing to shut up. Also, your family hasn't followed you yet. They've gone over the hill and they haven't come back so far. What do you do?
I should go get them. Now that I know that I have this superpower within me, I should probably head towards my family, try to save them, use the rooster call that I just did, try to replicate it. I'm sure it'll work a second time.
That is so funny. Okay, yeah, you pull yourself onto your feet, you run up to the top of the hill, and you pause there, taking in your surroundings. You see everything I've just described. You see Gam Heng standing kind of midway down the hill with one hand flung out. You come up just in time to see Mr. I keep forgetting this white guy's name. He's like,
Walgreens.
It's like the one, Walgreens. It's not Walgreens. It's one E short of Walgreen. It's Walgren. You see Walgren in the middle of falling to the ground as like 3 Jiangshi come upon him. And you see your sister, Singha, launch herself onto a bulldozer as dozens of Jiangshi start popping out of graves and hopping after her. And the bulldozer.
I am going to go over to Gam Heng and just say, "Hey, what happened? What's going on?"
They're all coming. They're all coming out. All the Jiangshi. We have to go help Singha, and then
Okay.
I am gonna try to go and save Mr. Walgren.
You're gonna save this white guy? Okay.
Okay. I mean, your decision. I respect it. I figured out a way to scare the Jiangshi away.
Great.
Okay. Do you want to see? It's kind of cool.
I'm already running away.
Okay.
You shout after Gam Heng as he's fucking it toward Walgren.
All right. Well, I'll see you later. I'm gonna run towards the thing, the mechanical thing that I don't know is a bulldozer yet, but it's a mechanical thing. I'm gonna run towards it. I'm gonna save our sister.
I think Gam Heng is out of earshot at this point because he's continuing to run as you're shouting this after him.
I'm a very fast runner.
Yeah, he's a runner, he's a track star. Gam Heng gets to the bottom of the hill, is like booking it toward Walgren. Wing Chun, you turn your sights on the bulldozer. What do you do?
I crow at the bulldozer.
Roll 2d8.
Oh, it's
We're
2D?
down, I think it's 3d8. 3d8. We're down to 3d8.
Oh, is it 3? Okay, 3. Okay,
think
I
it's
got
3,
one
yeah.
individual die as well. Oh,
You can spend it if you want
Oh,
to
shoot.
replace the highest roll.
I got a 2. I got a 2. Okay.
You want to spend the individual die?
I kind of want to save it for later.
Okay.
Let me see what I can do. The only thing that could probably help me is psychic, but I don't, or actor.
Yeah. Do you want to use my martial arts?
Can I use my actor facet and pretend to be Gam Heng and try to do some martial arts on the bulldozer?
On the bulldozer? Are you
Yeah,
trying to like disable this machine?
Yeah, I'm gonna try and like jump on it or something and like get Lewis out of the seat and stop the bulldozer.
Okay, is that a separate roll for that facet?
That is a separate roll, yes.
Okay, you know what? Go for it.
Okay, so I'm gonna. Is it still okay if I use the 3d6 or 3d8?
Go for it. Yeah, that's totally fine. That's totally fine.
I got a 6.
That is somewhat positive. That's good. Success with something bad happening. So you successfully disable the bulldozer, I guess. How do you do that?
So I run up the bulldozer and I'm just like climbing up this thing, and I go into the seat, kick Lewis out of it, and somehow manage to stop it. I don't know. I'm just like pressing buttons.
You're pressing sheer luck. So you have no martial arts training, okay? You don't know jack shit about martial arts, but you've seen Gum Hung do it. So you're like, how hard can it be? I can imitate. You're on adrenaline right now. You're on sheer adrenaline and sheer like male can do. So you run up the side of this fucking bulldozer like the spirit of something has seized you, right? You do like a sick backflip into the cabin and you kick Lewis out of like the window. He goes past Sing Ha and falls onto the ground, right? As the bulldozer continues onward, you just grab random levers and you mash random buttons and you stomp onto random pedals and it somehow screeches to a halt. It continues idling. You haven't shut it off. It's guttering, but it stops moving. Here's the something bad that happens. You and Sing Ha in the new silence, right? That's only punctuated by a of the idling bulldozer. You hear Lewis go, "Oh my god!" as the dozens of hopping Jiangshi descend upon him.
Oops.
We go back to Gum Hung. Gum Hung! You see 3 Jiangshi. They have pinned Mr. Wogren to the ground. And they are not biting onto him, but they're like something even worse than biting. They're like smelling him and they're licking him and they're grabbing onto his limbs. And you can see what little color is in his pale cheeks draining from his skin and body. And you can see before your very eyes his like thick brown hair starting to turn white at the roots. And you see wrinkles beginning to form on his skin. What do you do?
Okay. Could I say that because one of my skills is traditional culture and mythology, that I hold my breath as I approach?
Yeah. You know what? Yes. You are first gen. You are the closest, I think, to you left China in your lifetime and like came here,
Yes.
right? And you're
Yes.
you're pretty new to America. So you remember all of these like folkloric sayings that are like fresh in your mind. Yes, you absolutely can't hold your breath as you approach. So you don't draw their attention for as long as you can hold breath.
Okay. I draw in a deep breath.
Okay.
And then I go up. I'm just gonna try to pull him from under them.
Okay, you're good. Okay. Roll 2d8.
Okay. Okay, that's a 2 and an 8.
That's an 8! That's an 8! That is a positive success with something good happening! Yes, come on! Yeah. What does it look like as you pull Mr. Walgren away from the Jiangshi without even getting their attention?
Okay. I think maybe I'll do it in a smarter way then. I
Okay.
will like I'm actually going to like let go of my breath and then like take another deep breath while I'm like closer to them, so then their attention turns to me. And then as they like approach me, I hold my breath again and then like run beside them and then just like start dragging him away.
That's really smart. As you let go and then taking that intake of breath, we see from the Jiangshi's perspective, they pause and then looking around, trying to see the source of the vitality they just sensed. And in their distraction, you run up and you grab Mr. Walgren, their breath locked in your lungs, and you drag him far away from where these 3 Jiangshi are congregating. And when you're far away enough that you feel like you could safely let go of your breath and like be like a normal person again, you see Mr. Walgren start to rouse back to consciousness. His roots remain white and the wrinkles stay on his skin, but he is at least not actively deteriorating before your very eyes.
Okay.
What is your English proficiency?
I'm listening 1, speaking 0, reading 0, writing 0.
So you can understand a little bit of what he's saying,
Yes.
but you can't communicate back. You hear him say, and I'll just speak completely as him in English, and I'll let you decide how much of that you catch as Gum Hong. You You're you're that young man from the restaurant. What's wrong with my hands? They look like my father's hands. What's happening? The restaurant. The restaurant. God damn! This fucking Eastern magic. What is this? Listen. You have to sell that restaurant to me. You hear me? Okay? You cannot get in the way of this future we're trying to develop. Okay? You people cannot get in my way. Sell me your restaurant.
So, like, as he's saying this, I'm like trying to pull him up so that he's like he can stand and therefore run, and I don't need to keep dragging him. Does he do that? Does he stand?
Yeah, he grabs onto you like a dying man to a life raft. Right, he grabs onto you and like doesn't let go of you as he's demanding this, shaking your lapels basically into your face.
Okay, I will. I think I'll grab like one of his arms and then like, I guess like pull it off, but like dragging him with me so that we can start running. Like, yeah, he's saying things. I think I catch like, you restaurant man, and I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, that's me. I don't say any of that. So then I'm just like, okay, yes, you know who I am. Let's run. And he's shouting things. I don't know. It's time to go. So
totally, yeah, you're like letting him just babble. You're just trying to get him out of literal fucking active danger right now. So you're like dragging him kind of up the hill away from the cemetery, and we pan back to the bulldozer, and a small mountain of hopping vampires has descended upon Lewis. He's kind of on his back, right? He's like scabbling away from them, but they're like coming closer and closer and closer. And a couple of them fall down onto their knees and they're grabbing onto him and smelling him and licking him and like kind of like gnawing on the sides of his earlobes and whatnot. And both of you see like the color start to drain from his face. You see his hair starting to change color. You see wrinkles starting to go up the sides of his face. What do the two of you do?
Lewis, hold your breath.
Okay. Lewis looks at it. What are you talking about? Get him off of me! And you know that Lewis is very recalcitrant, very reticent to listen to folk knowledge.
Singha, what should we do?
Lala will be very sad if we do not do anything to intervene in this death of her son. So maybe I am going to...
Yeah.
You know, that is a thing. I'm going to hop down from the bulldozer.
What?
I'm holding my breath because I trust...
Okay.
Listen, I don't trust my brother about a lot of stuff, but I do trust him on things he knows about these things. And so hold my breath, and I am shoving my hand on top of Lewis's mouth and nose.
Okay. Roll me 2d8.
Great. I think I have,
and
I have an extra die.
Wing Chun, you can help if you wanted to. I think there's a help action that folks can take.
Yes, I'm going to help.
You can spend your individual dice.
I help. That is a 1 and a 7.
7 is not bad.
That's real good. That's
actually really good. That's actually the best. That's actually the best result you could get. So yeah, yes. You clap your hand over his mouth and nose, and he lifts it up, and he can't breathe. But in that moment, both you holding your breath and him holding his breath, the Jiangshi, this corpse bolus, this tangle of limbs and hopping feet and rotted flesh blending into hair and clotted scalp and fingernail and tendon freezes. This mound of hopping vampires all freeze. They all stop hopping at once. And in that moment, Singha, you have the opportunity to drag this motherfucker away.
I'm moving him.
His eyes are bugging out of his head, the size of dinner plates. And where do you and Wing Chun abscond to?
Probably keep an eye out for where our other one is. Come hung went.
You see him huffing it up the hill with this like white guy slung over his shoulder.
I think we're going to go in the same direction.
We're going up the hill.
Okay, still holding your breath. All three of you, with your various companions in states of distress, hoof it up the hill just in time to see the light beginning to brighten across the horizon. And I think it's impossible for you all to hold your breath for longer than like 5 to 10 seconds when undergoing heavy exercise. So you have to breathe and then hold it and then breathe and hold it. But that's enough to get the attention of this legion of Jiangshi at the base of the hill. They all turn their heads to look at the three of you escaping up the peak, and they start hopping up the slope after you. You are racing against the clock to get to sunrise. As the Jiangshi, like carnivorous ants, start bouncing and hopping their way up the slope, and we see you all with a bit of a modest lead in front of the vampires, like hoofing it up, hoofing it up. And as soon as your family gets to the peak, I think your hearts drop a little as you see the grave sites on the other side of the hill are also being disturbed. You see more hands clawing out of earth, more Jiangshi pulling themselves out of the dirt. You are sandwiched by Jiangshi in front of you at the base of the hill and Jiangshi hopping their way up the base of the hill behind you. What is kind of like this image we get as the three of you with Mr. Walgren and Lewis in tow kind of like come together at the peak with these two waves of zombified vampires converging upon you? What is the image we get from Singha?
I think it's shock, right? It's this just unsure about what to do, and glancing to Wing Chun and Gam Hung, just back and forth.
What do we see from Wing Chun?
Wing Chun is just backing away, trying to still hold his breath, but he needs to like gasp for air every so often now.
And what about Gam Hung?
This is the moment that Hung pushes Mr. Walgren in front of Singha and Wing Chun, and so that if they were to get here, they would get him first.
You're selfless, but not that selfless.
Like pushes him there and like holds him there.
What are you? No! It can't end like this. No! Do you know who I am? I'm from the Walgren family. I'm part of the development company. This can't end for me like this. And Lewis is going like, and for the first time since any of you have known Lewis, he starts praying in Chinese. He starts praying to his ancestors in Chinese, which is a tradition he's left behind, that he's sworn that he would leave behind. He's speaking Cantonese. He's fallen to his knees and he's pressing his head against the dirt and he's praying and praying and praying. And just as the hopping vampires start to crest the peak toward all three of you, the sun rises. And as the rays of the sun come down and kiss the peak, all of you also hear from the distance roosters cawing, right? Illegally kept by Chinatown's residents, of course. But we hear the roosters cawing and the Jiangshi freeze. Hands inches away from Lewis's perfectly primed silk tie. And they turn and they start retreating, hopping backward, turning, stumbling, hopping, bouncing back down the slope like rotted, fetid marbles of flesh. They retreat back into their overturned graves and they shovel fistfuls of dirt back over their bodies. And by the time the last rays of sun evaporate the morning dew, every single Jiangshi is once again buried under dirt. Mr. Walgren falls, like collapses in relief in a puddle at the top of the hill. Oh God. Oh Jesus. Oh, thank you, Lord. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Oh, thank you to the three of you for saving my life. I suppose you're Eastern, whatever, mystic. I suppose there's some degree of truth to that, isn't there? What a phenomenon. Why? Ooh.
I will actually, I'm going to pull him up by his arm, and then I'll look at Singha and say, tell him this is what he deserves. And then I'm gonna deck him.
After Singha translates?
Yeah, I think Singha's like, he says this is what you deserve?
What?
And then
you would fucking knock him out in one hit, and he like crumbles to the ground like a sack of rocks. Lewis, or rather, Qiu Bu, raises his head from the dirt, which is kind of smeared with grave soil, looks up at the three of you, and then scrambles to his feet. In Cantonese, he says, I'm so sorry. I've just been so blinded by greed. I was trying to do what was right for my family, for our community, and I'm never going to apologize for that. But
I would love to just put a hand, like I will not punch him. I'll put a hand on his chest, and then I'll say, save this for your mother.
Yes, I will. I thought that was gonna skin me alive. And Qiu hangs his head in shame.
Hey, Tubu, while you're at it, can you, since we kind of saved the community and all, you think you could sort of get rid of my debts?
Absolutely the fuck not. And we're going to end the session there. So thank you so much for tuning in to Jiangshi Blood in the Banquet Hall. I have been your game master, Connie Chong. My pronouns are they, he, and she. You can find me across the internet at by Connie Chong, namely Twitter and TikTok and Blue Sky. I'm going to pass along introductions to Banana Chan.
Thank you so much for running this game. Thank you, everyone, for having us and for having me on the show. I've been Banana Chan, she, they, he. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, all of the social media at Banana Chan Games. And you can find Jiangshi Blood in the Banquet Hall on the IPR website, the Indie Press Revolution website. And check it out.
Excellent. Let's pass it over to Kiana.
Hi, I'm Kiana. I've been such a joy to play with everyone today. You can find me all over the internet as at Kiana S. I do a lot of writing and designing for different games. And if you're looking for someone to write and design for your games, I'm available for work. But this was so much fun, and I'm really glad to have played with all y'all. And definitely check out the game. It's a cool game. It's very good.
It is excellent. I can vouch. Agatha.
I am Agatha. I've been Agatha as well as the character that I already forgot the name of, as well as Gong. That's me. My pronouns are she, her, and you can find me on Twitter and on itch.io at Mighty Shrimp with 2 Y's. But you could also find me on Blue Sky with only 1 Y with Mighty Shrimp. I know that's bad branding, but I hold out hope that someday whoever took Mighty Shrimp from me with 1 Y will get rid of their account. Anyway, that's me. Thank you so much for GMing, and thank you so much for hosting this stream.
Yes, of course. And speaking of the incredible host, Mark, if you'd like to spiel us out, talk about this channel, how amazing it is. Thank you so much for providing the space for us to play this as an all-Asian cast. This heals something in my soul to have this white guy, this terrible white guy, get punched the fuck out.
Let me make sure I can be heard on stream.
Can stream here, Mark? You're very faint. You're audible, but very faint. Yes. I'm also listening to the stream on the side.
Mark is too soft. You know, I've been called that a lot ever since I was born. They said I was too soft for reality.
I think you're a little louder now.
Am I louder? Okay. Now I got you. Okay, cool. Cool. Yes, thanks so much to our wonderful cast. This has been the Apochromatic Unlimited Halloween Special. A one-shot presentation of Jiangshi, Blood in the Banquet Hall. Of course, round of applause for our amazing cast of stars here tonight. I also want to shout out our behind-the-scenes crew at Apochromatic. Leona, the Bloody Maples in chat. The Potato of Death, Taylor, for our overlaid art. Our APOC U VIP patron and moderator supreme, Red Sev. And finally, our executive producer of actual plays, Doomsday, Dapper Wombat. If you love this actual play presentation, support the work of all of this all BIPOC organization, our actual plays, and our incredible Apochromatic Unlimited zine, and all the cool BIPOC projects we're working on by becoming one of our patrons. You can check us out at patreon.com/apochromaticunlimited. Wow. This has been a wonderful game. I have been Mark J, the disembodied voice of Apochromatic Unlimited, and I wish you a happy and horrific Halloween.
Have a happy and horrific Halloween, folks!